Let's talk about the running backs. Jacobs obviously won't be playing in this weekend. He's not even signing his tender. And Dalvin Cook is putting out some videos of him looking really spry. And Zeke is still sitting at home. And Kareem Hunt left Indianapolis, now left two places where he kicked tires and didn't sign a contract. And Leonard Fournette sitting out there. You know, when is rubber going to meet the road? I mean, the NFL's coming, and I know these guys don't want to be in training camp. They might be waiting to see injuries. What do you got for me on this front? Right
I was going to say, Rich. It seems like some people some of the running backs and the edge rushers out there are executing the old Walter Jones plan. Do you remember that?
Yes, I hear you.
Where the Seahawks would franchise him every year, and then he would
exactly.
Then he would say, "Okay, I'm not signing that until training camp's over."
Right, exactly. By the way, and even mentioned Jonathan Taylor, who leaves the team to rehab on his own. Like, what's that about?
Yeah,
Albert. Come on.
Yeah, I think that shows you how ugly that situation's gotten. And obviously, I think, what exacerbated that situation is obviously what happened right there at the franchise tag deadline with all of the tagged guys with Jacobs and Barkley and well, not so much Pollard, but Pollard was one of the guys who was tagged. I think this is going to play out a little like the edge rusher situation where I believe Yannick Ngakoue was the first one to sign, and then after Ngakoue signs, you start to see things springing loose a little bit with, guys like Justin Houston, and you see Clowney going and doing visits now. I think it's going to take one guy to jump, and I think part of the problem is, these guys are used to making more money than they're being offered now, so they want to make sure they don't shortchange themselves. And, guys like Cook and Zeke are used to making big money, like 8 figures a year, and a lot of times it's tough for veteran players to reckon with the idea of making a fraction of that. And so they want to keep the idea alive. Well, maybe somebody has an injury somewhere, something happens. And I think, as the weeks pass, it winds up becoming a game of musical chairs. And I think that's what's playing out here is once one of them signs, you'll start to see those dominoes fall. But it takes one for that to happen. And obviously that hasn't happened yet.
Okay. Zach Martin, Chris Jones, are they just going to have to eat it? Because it certainly seems like management's telling them to right now.
I think those are two separate situations, but I think in both cases it's wild how much money those guys are giving up to make their point. I'm blown away, and I guess you can respect the principle. I think they're both over $1 million in fines now, which is crazy. I think Zach Martin, that eventually gets done with some sort of adjustment to his deal. Chris Jones is a little bit more difficult because it's a new deal, and the Chris Jones situation, there's a very specific problem here. There's an Aaron Donald problem, okay? And on one end, you have what Aaron Donald got when he was leveraging retirement against the Rams, which was a complete outlier of a contract, right? Way above what any defensive tackle had gotten. And then you have where the rest of the market is, and you see what Jeffrey Simmons got from the Titans and what Quinn and Williams got from the Jets. And so basically where the divide there is, you got the Chiefs willing to pay him at that market rate. We'll give you a bump over what Quinn and Williams and Jeff Simmons got, right? And he's like, no, I'm like Aaron Donald. I'm over here. And because he's already gotten a second contract, he's got the financial wherewithal to say, I'm willing to sit out to make you do it. And because of that, that's become a little bit of a staring contest. So a little bit a lot of the listeners won't remember this, but almost 10 years ago now, the Calvin Johnson contract was a complete outlier at receiver, and it wound up making negotiations for players like Des Bryant and Demaryius Thomas really, really difficult. I think we're in the same sort of situation with Chris Jones right now, and I don't know what's going to give, but it's hard to doubt the resolve of a man who's willing to walk away from 7 figures to make his point.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.